Hi, this is Ginger Cook, and guess what? Today we're going to be doing an acrylic painting of a scene from Quebec, Canada. It's pumpkins and a wagon wheel and kind of a little cabin in the background. Part of the adventures of our trip. Join me. I'm going to show you a simple way to translate a photograph into a painting. I think you're going to find it very helpful. We'll see you in a sec.
And now, without further ado, I have the distinguished honor and privilege of presenting to you the Queen of Color, the Mother of Artists, globally acclaimed, award-winning master acrylic artist, and the star of our show, Ginger Cook, as she once again mesmerizes her audience with the daring do's and don'ts of painting with acrylics.
What are you doing?
This is Mix Up Monday. Is that what you said?
Yes,
that's why we had such a screwy.
Because we're supposed to have the big U first.
We're talking about acrylic painting on YouTube. We don't want to talk about anything else in the first 13 seconds. Zip it. This is acrylic Monday. Even if it's a little mix-up, we're going to be doing a painting that is the genesis of it is going to be from a holiday photo that John and I did in Quebec. We just got back from a long trip, and everything's sort of upside down in the studio. That's where you're going to meet Morgan.
So who's the new guy you got there?
This is from Nicole Nappy, who we visited in Maine when we were there, and she gave us, his name is Morgan. He's a moose. He's a moose.
And what's his job position?
I forget.
Head of security?
He's head of security. Yes, Morgan is head of security. Sorry, it's top secret. I forget that. I tried to block it out so people would know we had security. This is Morgan. I'm going to toss him now, right? Choop! There goes Morgan. John's got him, and we're going to tell you about our trip. We're going to, John, if you'll get down to the photo. I think what happens is people see photos and think, oh, I want to paint this. This will be so cool. And then they feel like they've got to put everything that's in the photo, and it becomes a thing. So I'm going to just basically show you that we took this photo, and then I haven't painted the painting before. I have no idea how I'm going to paint it, but you and I will do this. We'll figure it out together tonight. I think that's sort of fun. We'll let you see the process. But basically what I did was I came up with, I realized that this photo had a lot going on. These flowers here kind of interfered with the wagon wheel. What's the subject? I think it should be really the, kind of this area right here with the pumpkins and the wagon wheel. So here was one of my first, printouts of it, just like that, and that you saw here in The Shining. Throw that away now. And then I thought, well, I'll make it a little smaller because I'm going to do this 8 by 10. Whenever you're deciding to do something, don't do the biggest thing you can find. Do it small, figure out your design, and then do it. So then, originally I was going to do it like this. We printed it out like this, but I didn't want to crowd the top of the roof of the house into the top of the canvas. So then I just kind of did it like this, I just printed out my picture a little smaller, so I had at least a good 2 fingers above the peak of the roof, okay, of the house, okay? So that was kind of, this was at the Sugar Shack in Quebec, and I want to take a moment now to welcome everybody to our channel. If you're new to our channel, we hope you enjoy the step-by-step process we're going to be doing this way tonight. Who's on here, John? Can we say hi real quick?
Yes, you say hi real quick. Hi real quick.
It's real quick there, too?
Yeah, real quick, showed up.
Hey, real quick, hi.
We have moderator Tonya and Steffi.
Hi, Steffi, Tonya.
And the Tech Bear, and I'm scrolling Luann. And
well, we got some folks there, right?
Where's Judy? There's Judy.
Hey, Judy. Judy's the one that called us and let us know that the schedule had been screwed up.
Here we were. We were in the Eastern time zone, but we have our channel set to Central time zone. And when we do a live show, it sometimes takes Central, and sometimes it takes whatever time zone we're in. It just depends on what YouTube feels like doing.
So
good catch, Judy. Thank you very much.
Judy gave us a quick call and told us to catch that, so some of you may have seen the time change on us. So really, I've just got a little 8 by 10 canvas. It's pretty basic. Boy, is this loose too. When your canvas is like this, when you can touch it and it does this sort of bad thunky thing, just squirt the thunky thing.
A funky thing.
A thunky thing. As opposed to a thinky thing, this is a thunky thing.
A funky thing.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So you want to spray, hot water really works. I just have cold here. I'm telling you what, we got back a little late last night from our trip, from lots of travel, and we'd spent the last couple of weeks up in Canada and really enjoyed it and had just so appreciative of all the stuff we'd seen. Let me just show you here now. Hear the drum sound now? Your canvas should sound like a drum. So anyway, and that makes it a little bit more give to, well, it's a little easier to paint on it. I went ahead and just sketched this on from the picture because, again, I just thought I wouldn't recommend you try to paint along with me. Just kind of follow along the logic of how we're going to take this photograph and turn it into a painting, okay? I think that's the logic we want to share with you, is how you can take this photograph and turn it into a painting and kind of simplify things, decide, what your subject is and so forth. And, in most cases, people say, I wish you would put the colors out first. You guys, we use the same colors all the time. Give me a break here. But if you want to know what we're going to use, if I had any magenta, I'd show it to you. But at some point, we'll have some magenta. This is naphtha crimson. This is cad red medium, cad yellow medium, yellow oxide, burnt sienna, titanium white, dazzling purple, burnt umber, phthalo blue, and ultramarine blue. That's pretty much the gang, okay?
The gang.
That's the gang
colors.
and I've sort of just loosely sketched it on about what we're going to do and how we're going to paint it on. And I've got a few brushes here. This is a 5/8 inch angle brush. This is a 3/8 inch. And this one is, what is this one? That'll be the next one down. What's this one, John?
You have a 3/8 and then a quarter.
At a quarter, yeah. So that's basically what I got going here. This one had a bath in the paint a little while ago. That's why it's kind of dirty. They're actually cleaner than this. Okay, so that's kind of the thing we're going to do here, is to show you how to do that. And one of the things I like to do is start with the background first. I like to start with the farthest thing away and come forward. That's just a very effective way to do landscapes. And what we know for sure is this was just a burnt sienna, 8x10 canvas, nothing too special. I want to just take some burnt umber and a little dazzling purple like that. Just mix the two together. I want to come back up here and make a pretty dark background, just like this. I'm not going to get too specific here. We're just going to come up like this. I like the angle brushes because look at these thin lines. Look at the thin line I could make if I needed to. Can you guys see that? Huh? Isn't that neat? So when we do these videos, somebody one time said, really, I have to focus so hard when I'm painting them. When John and you just chat back and forth, it makes me crazy and they don't like it. Well, that's okay. I understand not everybody learns the same way, and I kind of understand that to this degree. Okay? If I'm trying to find directions somewhere, I can have the radio on, but if I'm stuck down in Houston and I can't see the street signs and I'm trying to go somewhere, can't read the GPS, was particularly before GPS, but couldn't read any of that. And then, I'm going to go ahead and paint the dark side of my house here too. And then I have the radio on or something like that. I have to have it totally quiet. So you may be like that too. And this may be fun to watch as far as how I'm doing it, but you try to paint along. Maybe you find that just a little too distracting. Join our academy where it's just my voice and you can pause the video. It's just my voice. There's not a lot of other stuff happening as far as, discussions and what people are doing. I'm going to add a little burnt sienna to that. And even though in the photograph this is still very dark, I'm going to make this side slightly lighter than the other side, okay? It's still dark, but I'm going to just change it like this so you know the difference between this side and that side. We'll come back over to this side. And then this all gets, this is really interesting. I want you to see how I'm kind of going around the pumpkins. I can always put another pumpkin back. But most of this is just all going to be kind of a dark brown like this.
Jane says, hello from the UK. It's 1:38 a.m. I was in bed but couldn't sleep, so I popped downstairs for a cup of coffee and thought I'd pop in while you...
Oh, I'm so glad you did. This is absolutely
and
great.
your hair looks amazing tonight.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm home with the hot curlers and the and the air dryers. What a thing, right? When I'm traveling, I just try to keep it as simple as possible, you know. But so appreciate that very much. Now, one thing you can do if you're trying to suggest, if you've got a background that's pretty dry and this paint's fairly thick, if you want to suggest there's some trees back here, just play with this a little bit. Try not, never have a tree coming right out of the point of your house, but here, let's just put some trees back here like that. All right, back in our woods. You can do that, right? And that's a fun thing to do too. Now, this part of me says, all right, as long as I'm in these dark colors, I've got them on the brush, I know that I want it pretty dark around the front where my pumpkin's going to be. So I'll paint that in too. And I have to say, we got to tell you guys, we had the best time. We were very grateful to some of our YouTube friends that took us around, particularly some of maybe if you've seen us in Icy Point. That's in, where was that, John?
I'm not sure because you keep saying Icy Point. Icy Point
is
in Alaska.
No, Icy Point. Icy Point is the lighthouse. The lighthouse.
That's Peggy's Cove.
Oh, Peggy's Cove. Well, what was Icy Point?
That was Alaska.
That was Alaska.
We're not doing this many trips again.
That was Alaska.
See, you got to realize we went from China to Japan, to Russia, to Canada, to Alaska, to Canada, to Hawaii, to New Jersey, to Maine, to
Russia,
Boston, Maine.
Yeah, Russia?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right. I got to look. Yeah, that was the one.
You kept saying Icy Point. I said, where was this? Did I miss the lighthouse? I'm sitting here thinking, what lighthouse did I miss? I'm usually pretty good.
I know you are, and it must be very distressing for
It was.
It wasn't a lighthouse. Icy Point, we got some great photographs of this fishing village in Icy Point.
Beautiful.
Really way neat. And
last time we were there, last year, it rained out. It totally fogged. We couldn't even get on shore.
Never even got off the boat. It was so rainy and awful. But this time we got, so what we were sort of traveling around looking for, we were hoping to see some of the Aurora Borealis too when we were in Alaska. We didn't see that. That's
no, it was a froggy
still
night.
on the bucket list. Okay, I'm kind of doing this like the wedges of an orange, yeah? Does that kind of look like that to you?
Ginger, do you feel rusty after not painting for a while? It looks like it's so easy for you.
No, but I'll tell you what, the studio is just a...
Hey. Well, you know, who was in charge of doing that? Sammy was supposed to be here supervising Chester and Snarky.
Yeah,
but apparently he was traveling around the world.
Yeah, Sammy is Sammy back?
Yeah, he didn't make it back.
Sammy's not back yet?
No, he made it back.
Oh, he did?
He did make it back.
He didn't come over and say hello to me, so I just didn't know.
Well, he had been running around like a chicken with his head cut off.
I have loved watching Sammy's pictures. If you guys don't know, on our Pinterest board, we have got this really neat board that's just for Sammy's travels, and a lot of you have captured Sammy in the places he's been and have
China
and all these places.
Grand
Some fantastic
kayaking.
pictures.
He's been having a great time.
Yeah, he has.
I think Jules came up with the idea, how to get around so much, he uses that Doctor Who telephone booth.
That's right. So Sammy's been getting around quite a bit. And those of you who have been painting there, if you haven't seen it, run over to our Pinterest board, gingercooklive, all one word on Pinterest, and see what we've got going there, because this is really kind of cool. I think I'll just
Jules
bring
would like
this
to
down.
know, Ginger, were you able to paint at all on this trip?
No, I did not paint. But what I did do was do an awful lot of personal art coaching for people. And
every day.
And one of the things that was the genesis of this painting was I saw so many people. You know, when you're an Academy member, once a month you can send me some non-tutorial painting, something that's either not on YouTube, that's one of my tutorials, or not in the Academy. Maybe it's a photograph, or maybe it's some other picture you saw somewhere and you want to paint it. But a lot of people start with their vacation photos, and what happens is that many times a vacation photo does not make a good painting. We took maybe 15 shots of this scene in Quebec, and I came up with this one that I thought we could, paint easily tonight. And then even then I sat on the computer and I reworked the idea of it. For instance, if you look at this picture here and this one, There's this big yellow gourd up there. We have to leave that out. There's just too many things here to talk about. So you have to ask yourself, what can I take away and not ruin the effect? And so we left out some of the flowers and some of these bright yellow pumpkins that take your eye right off the canvas. And we're focusing on these pumpkins, this old barnwood and so forth. That's the focus of the picture.
Hey, Donna would like to know, are there any photos from Canada you might paint?
Donna, we've been doing nothing. This is a Canada photo.
That's a Canada
this is
one.
Quebec, and we've got tons of them. Absolutely tons of them.
It's going to be a Canada marathon.
We have a ton of them, and we have a lot of them, and particularly for our Wave and Water Masterclass.
Oh, those
because
guys
when we
are
got
gonna
to
be great.
Peggy's Cove, it was the day after a huge storm. I mean, big storm in the Atlantic, and the waves were bigger. The natives said than they had seen like a couple years. Never seen such big waves.
It was a very angry sea because they were going every which way.
Yeah, oh my gosh, it was fantastic. So John got hours worth of wonderful photos, and it was really terrific. Okay, I want to have this in the photo. Their roof's kind of pink. I don't know. We'll want to keep it kind of more in these kind of orange tones, I think, to just kind of blend it in. I'm going to take a little cad red medium and a little purple, I think. Let's see, what do I got there? That's kind of an interesting rusty color, isn't it? Now let's add a little white to that.
So tell you Liz is here too.
Oh, hi, Liz.
So all staff is here and accounted for.
All right, so I'm going to just add all this. Let's just try that for this roof for now. Let's see where we are with that. Let's just put that on there. It's our first layer of roof on this picture. And so I haven't dried anything. You guys have seen that, right?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. We're like I say, we just got back. I got back, which was really kind of neat, and had such a good time. So happy to see everybody.
Okay,
Yeah.
Can you see them? Do you have special vision that I don't have? Can I see the viewer? I want to see them too.
Oh, well, that's true. I can't see anybody. Well, I'm just.
So for us, this is all make believe.
I know, but you said you were talking to somebody.
I made up names.
Okay.
How do you know?
I don't know, John, and now I'm depressed. Now I'm in a funk. Now the centipede was happy quite until a frog in fun said, pray, which leg comes after which set his mind in such a pitch, he lay distracted in a ditch, considering how to run. And that's my story tonight, okay? All right,
Hey, is the house in the back going to be haunted?
Well, you could have this. I'm just could have a little imagination here if you wanted to. You could, it's not in the picture, but what if we can always turn off the lights if we don't like them. But what if we said that there was some lights in the house right here? What if we said that this window was on, and maybe there was a window here that was maybe on? Maybe there's some lights in the house.
Oh, that makes it that's spooky already.
Yeah. See, I mean, we could say that, and I want to say that, this brown's still wet, but I want to just come up here like this and tap on. You see these little, let me just pull this off here. See the
Color leaves.
the color, see the little leaves up here, up in this corner here? So we have to put in some little trees here.
Are you still wet up there?
Yeah, I'm still wet. I'm not drawing anything because then it'll tone down. I don't want these colors too bright. It'll mix in here. And I'm going to come all the way up to the top here and just suggest some little trees using just the corner of my brush and tapping. This is not a big thing here, you guys. Just kind of tapping. I want it just on the corner of the brush. I want some of the background showing through. And we're just going to suggest that here's some fall leaves. We were so lucky to see fall colors. I'm absolutely really lucky to see fall colors. And
it's always it's a gamble.
we don't have, our air conditioner was on when we got home. It was like, how hot was it when we got home here in Houston?
89.
89 degrees here. So it was really nice to, some people have fall. We'll go right into winter, I don't believe it. There was a cold front that came in today. I want a little magenta, and I don't see that I put any out. What are you? Design magenta. I guess I can use that. Do we have some really magenta? We're out, don't we? Have to order more paint.
You have to use that up. The accounting department said no more magenta till you use it up.
Okay, that's the end of that. All right, so we're going to use a little bit of that pink and put some yellow with it.
If you're looking for an actual reference photo for this one, it will not be available until after the show and we get it photographed and Judy gets it posted. We did not do a pre-paint. We've been a little
We
busy.
did, yeah. I'm telling you, I'm not suggesting you try to paint along with me. I'd rather you just kind of chat and enjoy the show and kind of watch it and see what we're doing. And if you're watching this after the live premiere, then just take a minute. You'll be able to find the reference photo. Pause the video when you can, and
As you need.
as you need to. Okay, so let's just say there's some trees back up in here too, kind of around the house like that, and maybe back over here there's some. Move back this way. We just want to suggest it back, and here like this, there's some stuff, right? We're just going to sit there and say that, because I just said it.
You said it very well.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So anyway, John has the names of all, everything, but we got to meet Anthony, Nicole Nappy's husband, and that was it. He took the day off of work to drive us around.
What a trooper.
I mean, that was so nice. I mean, really, honestly, wasn't that just great? And
At some point when you want to draw, you might show the gifties that Miss Nappy gave us.
I could. We have some great gifties too. This were really neat that she gave us. It was really just so
They
kind.
also got some fudge from a special viewer.
I know. Isn't that just
Which
exciting?
is very hard not to dig into without showing to you guys first.
Yeah, we have to show that to you first. So I'm going to just do this a little bit longer. I have no idea how long this painting's going to take because I've never painted it before. But
So
that's,
sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee.
yeah, just relax and just kind of bear with me. No pun intended here. And somebody did ask me, did write in and ask how my leg was. And if you were wondering, when we were in Japan, I had the misfortune of thinking I was in better shape than I was. And I don't know, there's a misconception that walking down a hill is easier than up a hill. I suppose it is in the sense that you don't run out of air in the lungs when you're going down. You don't, but it's very tricky on the muscles.
You're using totally different muscles than you do in the flat lands of
Yeah,
Texas.
you do. So what happened to me was, I'm going to just do a little light here, a little window box here on this. On this window. There, okay. Make sure you keep this down at an angle. All right, so we got to kind of fix that little window stuff there, right? So anyway, yeah. So we had taken this trip. Well, I don't know. So trip's the right word. We got on an excursion, and it was suggested.
We went ashore.
We went ashore, and it was in Japan. And it was suggested that we go see this wonderful old tea house that was like 700 years old or some big thing,
Yeah.
right? And so they dropped us off. We paid our money to get in, and then they had these long, sort of movable escalators, but without the stair
Without the
part.
steps, yeah.
That just kind of like a long conveyor belt. There was like 4 of them that took you up to the top of the hill, and then you just walk down through all the gardens. It was such a cool idea, right? And so it took about an hour to walk down.
Didn't think anything of it.
I didn't think anything of it. I'm making these colors are brighter because this tree is forward here, like that, in case you were wondering what I'm doing. As long as I'm in these yellow colors and talking, might as well start with the pumpkins. I'm going to make them yellow first, just so I can put them in. I'll make them different colors. So anyway, the next day, the back of my leg, my right leg just hurt immensely. It was just terrible. It was like I'd pulled a muscle behind my knee and it kind of stayed with me for the whole trip. Yes, it's a little bit better, but that was and I had this walking stick I was going to use for like cobblestone, kind of rough things, and I was lucky I had it because the walking stick actually made it possible for me to
Keep on going.
And I was amazed at what a difference that having that, just a little bit. That was nice. So I had the walking stick, which was nice. And they were very nice to it at airports to see me hobble along. Oh, would you like to get on the plane now? Sure. Sure. All right, do you see how I'm changing the colors here so I can separate at this point for the underpainting, I can separate where my pumpkins are? You see what I'm doing here? This is sort of my underpainting for the pumpkins. Yeah? So I want to be able to tell where one pumpkin starts and another one does. So I'm kind of changing how bright they are, and then we'll go ahead and color all these in. So this is what we're doing here. So any questions, John, as we're doing this?
Yeah, as a matter of fact. Where was your favorite place to visit on the last vacation, this last round of trips? What was your favoriteest?
Well, I love the tour that I got with Nicole Nappy. That was just terrific in Maine. We even got to go to LL Bean.
Oh, we could move there for
And
LL
you know,
Bean.
I've seen LL Bean. If those of you who are not aware or out in the States, you can Google them. They're a kind of a camping sporting goods store up in Maine.
Kind of like an REI.
Like REI. But what's interesting about them is that they don't have there's not like an LL Bean in different cities, right? There's
Not that we know of, anyway.
not that we know. No, she said there's just the one. Nicole said there was just the one, and it's there. And it's not. I've forgotten the name of the city, but it's right where she took us in Maine, where we were. And to me that was interesting because I had never. It was huge. It was huge. They had a picture. They had the real. Apparently, somebody had found two moose that were fighting. I mean, you mooses are bigger. They're like the size of Clydesdale horses, and I mean they're huge. And their antlers were locked, and they had died like that. And they took them in taxidermy. Taxidermy is that? Yeah, stuffed them.
They stuffed them.
Stuffed them, and had them on display in the window. And they looked. Was so amazing. That's as close up as probably anybody would ever get to a moose and live.
And that could become a painting before you know it.
And I mean, that was just so interesting. And
it was cool.
And we stopped in there because I hadn't brought warm enough clothes, and we needed I needed a turtleneck, little ultramarine blue and cad yellow medium. I've got a little green one here, some sort of little
that's what I
green
got.
pumpkin.
I got a green turtleneck.
Yeah, and so I wanted a place, and she told me that they're open 24 hours a day.
365 days a year.
And they were so nice. Everybody in the store was so helpful and nice. Ooh, I like that color too. Let's take a little of that color, bring that in here too. That's ultramarine blue and kind of yellow oxide in case somebody's
kind of yellow oxide.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
kind of yellow.
In case somebody's wondering to know what colors we've kind of blocked in here. So far so good. Yes and yes. All right. So here's a little burnt sienna and white. And we're going to start there with this. It's almost the color of the background already, though. So I don't know. Let's put a little purple with that.
Kathy has moose living right outside her door. We live on Moose Mountain in Duluth, Minnesota.
You have moose in
Minnesota.
What's the plural of moose?
Meese.
What?
No, it's moose. You have one moose or two moose? Mooses? Meeses?
Mooses?
Ask Morgan. He should know.
All right, let's just pull that out here like that. Okay. So anyway, just put a slight purple tone to that, and we'll go ahead and put in some stuff. But you can see how this is can you guys kind of see how this is coming together as we do this? Yes and yes? So, I want some kind of purple with a little bit of burnt sienna in it, so it's kind of a light gray color. And I want to come up here like this and put some trees, some little brighter trees. Here, remember we carved some out.
Yep, I remember that.
But we're gonna
add some more.
Add a few more. Now there aren't any of these trees over in the photo, Ginger. No kidding. No, they're sure not, right?
Well, that's being observant of you.
But we're gonna put them anyway. Yes and yes. We're gonna have a few trees, kind of give our painting a little depth. Yeah. And then we'll play with the wagon wheel a little bit and see what we can do with that. I think I want some white and brown, burnt sienna. And I want to come up here like this and see if I can paint these spokes in like that. Just sort of get a start on these, huh? And I understand it because I know some of you have been doing some great holiday paintings. If you're really wanting to do some super holiday paintings, let's just take a minute for a second. I'm going to let me finish this and I'll let this dry. We have got some awesome, if I think about we've been on YouTube for a few years, so if you go back to some of our older paintings, right? we've got some great ones. Let me just think. This was one we did last year. It's sort of a Louisiana sunset, but don't you think this is a very fall kind of spooky painting too, huh?
I think it's very
And a lot of people didn't see that. This is really neat. There's palette knife on this tree. There's a lot of palette knife on this painting. I think it's sort of neat, kind of Louisiana.
I like that one.
Bayou. So that's something that maybe you hadn't thought about painting. If you hadn't thought about that. And in our academy, one of my favorite ones for Halloween, let me just put this here, is this one, which is the Pumpkin Patch Kids. And that's in our art academy. And I love this, you know, so if you want to do some funny, you know, kind of great. I just thought it'd be fun, you know, we do a lot of this kind of thing. I thought it'd be fun just to do something a little bit, you know, something that, you know, something like
different.
this you could keep going for longer. You know what I mean? If we didn't make it specifically Halloween. Again, here in our academy is another one. This is called The Other Side of Mulberry Hill. And I really love this one. And you're going, well, what was Mulberry Hill? Mulberry Hill had a large version of this as well as a small version of this. So we've got, if you go back and if you want to know what we've got, go to Pinterest, gingercooklive, all one word on Pinterest, and then go to tutorials by category and then just hit the autumn one and wait till you see. I've got really literally hundreds of paintings between YouTube and the Academy on autumn. Can't show you all of them, but we've got a lot, yeah?
Yes and yes.
Yes and yes, so that's what we've got there. So, all right, you said we had some fudge. I want to let this dry for a second. Somebody sent me fudge, you guys. This is I'm very excited about this. I can't begin to tell you how cool I think this is. I wanted to show you just some of the things that we did. Well, I mean, we could do a commercial or something for drawing, but this is, my hands are clean. Give me the hat. This is John's favorite hat now. It's Maine, USA. This came from Nicole. He wore it the whole trip, which is way cool, right? And you saw that. And then, I mean, I'm telling you what, we had this great gift basket of things. Wonderful, wonderful mug. Look at this with the lobsters. They're they're really big up there in Canada and with lobsters. And then we even got saltwater taffy. You know, and isn't that interesting, from Maine? And it's got the little lobster on it, which was kind of cool.
They're lobster crazy up there.
They really are. In fact, our guide told us when we were in Canada that when he was growing up as a kid, only poor people ate lobster. This is what he said. This was so interesting. He said it was
bottom feeders, like I've always said.
They used to plow them under in his field to grow crops. And now, of course, and everybody said, yeah, back when they were kids, you know, the guy was like our age, he says lobsters weren't anything, and now they're everything, okay? So that was kind of cool. And then she sent us this pure maple syrup from Maine. Now, the maple syrup, the story behind this, we'll tell you about the story behind this because I'm going to tell you what a sugar shack is because that's what we're painting, okay? I'll tell you what the sugar shack is, we're going to talk about that, but here were the different cups that Nicole gave each one of us a cool cup. And I thought these were really nice coffee mugs, and we appreciate that very much. Here, you want to take these away, John. And this maple syrup, and then, I don't know, I must have been hitting or something because somebody sent us some fantastic fudge.
Sorry, I dropped you.
Okay, all right. Who got dropped?
I dropped my microphone came off.
Oh. All right, where's my card from Nicole? Okay, so Nicole writes very nicely. She writes and she says that, welcome to New England. Hope your East Coast cruise is turning out to be an enjoyable one. I'm thrilled to be meeting a couple of incredible people, one who have made a huge impression on my life. Thank you for doing whatever you do and for being truly authentic. Much love, and art hugs, Nicole. And so we thank Nicole very much for that and her time. And it was just, I think if we all live close, what happened to the fudge? I feel like what's happened is that I've gotten to know so many of you, and I feel like we're all just kind of friends hanging out. Yeah, I don't know if you guys feel that way. Going, oh God, would you just get on with the painting, lady? Well, as I said, you know, this is what the show is. We do this sometimes. This came from Carolyn Lounge from the Long Studio of Fine Art, and she sent us this package. It was mailed October 16th, and basically it's fudge.
Slide it down a little bit.
What? It's fudge. Fantastic fudge and truffles. And she basically said that it's been, anyway, so she says 1 box of maple truffles needs to be kept refrigerated. Enclosed, you'll find a package of fudge, vacuum sealed. And she says, thank you so much for being a wonderful teacher, and thank you, and John, generously for giving all the suggestions on how to market our paintings at shows. And she just did a big show. So I think, won't read the whole letter, but I think I'm so glad that Carolyn did so well on her show, on her art show. We encourage you to go ahead if you found, if you do the paintings in our academy or on YouTube, go ahead if you can sell, paint them. We ask you not to do prints, but if you can sell them, we want you to do that. So John's going to take it. Boy, that fudge is heavy. But we'll get back to the grindstone, and I'm going to, this is really
the grindstone. What? Give me that syrup before you use it for paint.
No, I want to show back. Give me that. Put that right back.
Oh, you're going to continue a story with the syrup?
Yes, the story at the syrup.
Just make sure it's tight.
Oh, he worries so much, isn't it cute? So anyway, so the maple syrup, see, look at even the same kind of house. Look at that, see? Sugar Shack. And a sugar shack, you're going, what is a sugar shack? Because you remember that song when we were kids? There was a Sugar Shack song. Wasn't there, you guys?
Yeah, there was a Sugar Shack song.
Well, I'd never heard it. It was a tour we took, a Sugar Shack. And basically what a Sugar Shack is they have these maple trees, and they're called sugar maples. Not all maple trees make maple syrup, but the Canadians originally, according to them, I don't know if the Maine people think that's the story, but according to the Canadians, they discovered them when they came to the New World, and like long time ago. And what they discovered was that there were these happy squirrels that were getting fatter and fatter, and their mouth was kind of glued to the tree, because what it is, it's kind of water that comes up out of the tree that's sugary, and the squirrels would just kind of chew into the tree, and they could kind of suck on there, and they would get fatter and fatter. It's happened in the spring. And if you tried to remove one, they got all snarly and someone almost like on crack or something. It's like, crack for animals. So anyway, they discovered they could tap into these trees, and they would then collect the syrupy water, which is the sap rising again in the spring, feeds the tree. And then they would boil it down to about 60%, which is how you make maple syrup. If you keep boiling it, you get sugar, just like blocks of sugar. So anyway, we found, and they have these sugar shacks, and they have thousands. There were thousands of trees that they do this with, and they're very modern now. They've got all these little pipes and drainage, and they're up on a hill, and not gravity fed, and it all comes down, and then everybody works like crazy for a month or so. Collecting maple syrup. So if you think maple syrup is a little pricey, it's pricey because it's so labor intensive. How's that? Okay.
It takes a lot of liquid to make a little pint of.
It does.
We did that in Michigan one time. Karen wanted to do it, and we had some maple trees, so we tapped them, and we tapped probably close to a quart.
Did you really?
Mm-hmm. And it tasted very woodsy.
What do you mean woodsy?
Woodsy.
It tasted woodsy?
Yeah,
not like the regular maple syrup?
Well, we got tired. We sat there and watched it boiling down because we knew what it was supposed to look like, and we ended up with like a tablespoon by the time we were done. We go, this is ridiculous. Why don't we just go to the store and buy it?
But how many maple trees did you have?
We had like 3 in the property that we tapped from.
Okay, and they have thousands to do this, but they take thousands of trees.
We weren't going into business. We just wanted to do it.
And see what you could do. All right, so there you go, you guys. That's what a Sugar Shack is. And this was a very small operation, and they gave us the big tour and everything. It was really kind of neat. All right, what I want to put here is...
Little do we know that the squirrels found it.
I want to just do a little bit of... We're just going to do a little detail work here. That could have been thinner. You ever find that happens? You start a line and you just get it too thick? I'm going to do this. I'm going to just go ahead and thin this out.
It takes 40 gallons of sap to make 1 gallon of syrup.
40 gallons of sap to make 1 gallon of syrup.
Yeah.
Wow. So now you guys, you know why they want the earth for this stuff when you're at the store, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm going to just do some smaller. Those little dots were too big for the size of this canvas, so I'm going to make some smaller. These are just some, just little, everything's fall, so we're just going to have some We're going to just say this is the, these are just some stuff that's growing around our cabin, right?
Lisa had a show this past weekend, sold some paintings, and she had your information on the back of the paintings.
Oh, that was nice. Thank you. And congratulations on selling paintings. That's pretty awesome. So, what you see what I'm doing here is I'm just suggesting that there's
Fall color.
fall colors, and I've wiped my brush so it's just damp but not wet. If you get the brush too wet, then you just have globs of paint. Knowing how much paint to put on a brush is so important. And someone's asked how many cookies is. I don't know because I haven't finished painting it, but I know that we're just going to come up here.
Somebody asked, how many cookies is Mulberry Hill? Isn't that a box?
That's a box of cookies, yeah.
Yeah, that's a box. That's a whole box, and we suggest a glass of milk to go with it.
Yeah, we have very beginner paintings on the Academy, and people think, one of the things people think is that they have to do all the paintings. Guess what, you guys? You couldn't possibly do all the paintings. We have such a variety because not everybody wants to do landscapes, and not everybody wants to do water. Not everybody wants to do all these different things, right? And so we have all these different types and subjects because we have a variety of people interested in learning to paint. Doing a little purple now in Cad Red Medium. And get a little bit different brown color in here. See, this is my kind of a little bit brighter, almost a burnt sienna color, and it's still dotted on here like that. So I'm not trying to talk too much about the back here, as I am about just what I'm trying to do is just sort of simplify this whole thing, so that we've got the pumpkins, which is sort of our focus, and we just have enough of the bright colors here to, you know, maybe up in here to lead the eye into the picture. Maybe we'll say that there's some brighter golds up here, and we'll go back and, you know, at some point put the and add and change highlights. But I kind of like this picture. I think it has sort of a nice feeling, and I love the idea now that I know what a sugar shack is, and I think it has great meaning. And that's the thing about your vacation photos, is that some photos are going to have more meaning to you than they will to somebody else because you were there. And you maybe you had an experience about it and you want to paint it. But again, not every painting, or not every photo turns into it. Might make a great photo, but isn't necessarily.
Won't make a good painting.
Won't
We had
necessarily-
several of those as we were going through them. I think I just kicked you.
So that's it. Did you just?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of the genesis of all this, why we're doing it like this. And so somebody also mentioned that they thought that some of my reds were so much brighter than theirs, and it may be true. But I'll tell you what, Matisse makes the best reds, and so does Holbein. I mean, in my opinion, for acrylics, they're just so bright and wonderful, and you know. And also that I'm not thinning them down either. So for instance, like here's a shadow on this one right here. Now what I'll do is I'll just wipe the brush. Now look at this. I'm using the back of the brush now, and I'm just smudging this out. So I've got a little bit of a shadow here, but it's not a line, even though it's actually a line in the photo. I'm just going to soften that line up here. And I'm going to say that this pumpkin right here needs to be brighter here. See, this needs to be a bit brighter here so that it shows it's in front of this one. There's a bit of a trick to getting these to show up. Here's some just, you know, regular red, and don't be afraid to use red. It could be just naphtha crimson. Don't be afraid to use that color either, because this is a really good, I would say, wonderful tutorial on values, whether something's lighter or darker than something else, so you can tell what's here. Okay, and we're just not going to talk too much about these, but they're just over here. Maybe there's some lighter ones. Maybe this one can be a little lighter, but it's just over here.
Brian wants to know, what's the orange on the pumpkins? Pumpkins are orange?
Well, pumpkins are orange.
I'm not sure what the question is then.
It's Cad Red Medium, and then I'm doing some red.
That might be what he wants to know.
Cad Red Medium, and sometimes it's naphtha crimson and red. You know, right? Is that what he wants to know? I'm assuming that's what he wants to know. Okay. Now you see, as that's drying, it's looking kind of cheery, isn't it? For, you know, a little painting here. And I know that I want, and you'll notice that I'm always wiping the brush. If I'm rinsing it, I'm really pinching it and squeezing it. I want something a little lighter up here on the top of this, right here on the top of that, my wagon wheel here. And I'm going to just, it's kind of it's a rusty color. So let's just get a little bit more orange with that. And let's come back up here and make this, let's just.
We have over 500 viewers.
Wow, well, I want to thank everybody for watching. I think my daughter Cinnamon said she might pop in. I don't know if she did or not. She's been really busy, and this is the time the kids go to bed, and she helps with their homework. So she gets really busy. I just talked to her. She said, I called you all day. But John is the one that really answers the phone in this house. He's so good about that. I never know where my phone is. I get working on personal art coaching stuff, and I'm doing that all day a lot of times. Okay, you'll notice just on one side, I'm kind of darkening this.
Somebody asked how the survey, we asked in the Facebook group of Academy members and past Academy members, fill out a questionnaire, and I am very pleased with the response. Well over 400 responded. I would be happy with 100, so we're still going through them. You guys have some great suggestions in there. It's going to take us a while to digest them all, but look for new and exciting things coming the first part of the year, hopefully.
Yeah, yeah. We're here for you. So, for instance, if everybody wrote me and said, we just need cows this month, Ginger, all we want to do is cows. And if a lot of people wrote that, you'd probably get a cow picture. I'm just saying. It would probably happen. Here's a little bit of a light on the pumpkin here. Joyce
would like to know, if I paint a canvas bag, should it be gessoed first? Should it be varnished after?
It's funny you asked that. There's a video on how to paint a canvas bag right here on YouTube. But to answer your question, yeah, it's, I would gesso it first because it's just easier to paint over it when it's gessoed. You know that? I'd have to tell you, it's just literally, it's just easier to paint. I got to tell you that, it just absolutely is. I'm going to take some of this green. There's a little bit of green on this pumpkin too. This was this pumpkin wasn't ripe. So I'm going to do a little bit of green on this one. Ultramarine blue makes a really good army green. That's kind of what you're looking for here on this. I want this to be pretty dark. So that's a good question though. Yeah, and then you want to varnish it if you that kind of protects it too. And not spray varnish either. You want Liquitex gloss medium and varnish. At least that's what I'd use.
That's what we did on our luggage.
Yeah, that's what we did on our luggage. And our luggage, surprisingly, and they were brutal, man. I was just cringing when they were throwing it around.
They just tossed it around like the gorilla. Remember that Samsonite commercial?
That's really
reality,
did.
People.
Yeah, they really were very unkind to my luggage.
Survived. We have one that got a war mark on it, we should take a picture of and show in the club. But
and I'll show you. We'll fix that.
And we'll fix it. But it's amazing as much bouncing around as these guys had that. How well they held up.
Oh, they did, didn't they? They were great. I was so impressed with how well they held up. These.
There's nothing like a conversation piece when you're walking around with them. People just admire that luggage.
Well, they did, and what was kind of neat about it was that.
We passed out a few cards.
We passed out a few cards. People said, "Oh, I love your luggage." It was easy for us to find. Can I whine a little bit?
Sure. Why not?
Yeah, exactly so. Why not? Exactly so.
First day back.
They've changed the rules again, these dumb airlines, about how big a carry-on could be. And they've changed it. I mean, one cannot be buying luggage every few years when they decide they want to cram another person in there and make no room in the airplane. I don't know what the deal is, but they keep changing the rules on what you can bring. And now there's hardly any room at all for anything. I'm telling you what, we
bought our good luggage 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
And it was all proper. It fit the airlines. Everybody was happy. And then this year, they dropped off, they cut it down by 2 inches. For the one bag that we had that we took on, even though it was illegal, it was 1 inch too much.
Yeah, and it's the wheels that are doing it too.
It's the
Your
wheels
wheels
that are
are
doing
just, they count the wheels, those jerks. And they count the wheels as how big something is. You'll notice as we're painting here, I keep adding stuff, but I hope you understand why I'm doing that as we're talking. I'm still adding color as we're doing that. This is there was a very poor light. It was sort of it was a gray day when we took the picture. So there's not a lot of light source, but probably the left-hand side of these pumpkins is slightly darker than the right, I would say, for the most part. So I'm starting to layer on the colors now as we're talking. And
Susan would like to know, can you paint over a canvas that has been varnished?
well, it depends on the varnish.
You have to know what kind of varnish it is.
You have to know what it is. And, you know, Liquitex medium and gloss medium and varnish, you can add that to your paint as you paint. So I would paint over a painting I varnished for sure, and then just varnish it back again.
Because
And one
that's
of the
what we
things that
use,
happens is if you're using like a golden, say like a glazing liquid like this, a good question by the way. If you're doing that, when it's gloss, there'll be a big glossy spot, and then you have to varnish the whole thing. Because I mean, that's why I like the satin, because it doesn't make a shiny spot. And you know what else makes a shiny spot? Who was that asked that, John? Susan?
Susan.
Susan. Every once in a while somebody asks a really good question.
Uh-oh, Susan, you're going to get the ding.
That's the question of the night here. Susan, you have just won.
Susan Snow.
Susan Snow, you have just won a 2-credit downloadable lesson on our on-demand website, which is up to, like, how much is that? Like, John, a lot, right?
Yeah.
So that would give you a back to basic lesson or anything. You go to our on-demand website, you use the contact us, tell John which lesson you'd like of the either 1 or 2 credit lesson, and or you could have two 1-credit lessons.
2 1 credits or 1 2 credits?
Or 1 2 credits.
Whoa.
So these are downloadable, so you could have that too, right? So that's kind of cool. Yes and yes.
So, Susan, if you don't understand what to do, please use the Contact Us form on the website, and I will explain it to you.
All right. Now, this was a bale of hay here, but it wasn't like an American bale of hay. Not saying anything about Canadian hay, but this was a very old, it was on display, I think, for the Sugar Shack. So this hay had seen better days.
So are you going to make it better than it was?
Well, I'm just going to use the edge of my brush here and just sort of suggest hay, right, over the dark brown kind of stuff that's here, right?
Question came in, how many suitcases did we take on this voyage? We took
6. 6, and it was too many, and I could...
It's too many. It's too hard in an airport. If we were not flying, they don't care. The cruise ship, you can bring 100.
If you can want to live with them in your room.
Yeah. You got to remember, though, it's all got to fit in your room. They don't store it for you. Oh, that's good looking hay. Now, what's the difference between hay and straw?
Hay is actually a different plant.
Oh, really?
Straw is yellow, and it's a different, totally. The horses will sleep on straw, but they eat hay. They won't eat straw.
They know the difference?
And they know the difference,
oh, that's good.
And there's different kinds of hay, like Timothy hay and alfalfa hay, and generally it's green. And a straw is, this probably is some sort of old straw. Straw is, you know, is a bedding for animals. Yeah, just a little bit of that. See, I've got a little bit of hay in there, just this little hay thing here.
Janice would like to know, do you recommend golden retarder? You know, the one that keeps it... We tried it the one time, it came tacky.
I don't use retarder. I just, I dry between layers and paint smaller areas. Just don't paint, you know what I mean? Absolutely, that's the secret. Just dry between layers and paint. Here, I want this a little darker next to here. Wherever there's a light, there's a dark. So let's just say that there's something dark next to this pumpkin. So he shows up, yes and yes. See how he just comes forward because we put a little bit of dark back there?
Oh, one thing we did notice while flying in this last little round, October of 2020, everybody has to have a new license. If you're in the United States and you're flying within the United States, you have to have the new enhanced license.
And what is an enhanced license, John? What is that junk?
I have no idea.
I know that our friends from California already had one.
They had them.
They had them. I don't think they're even offering enhanced licenses in Texas. If they are, nobody's... Well, maybe they are. I don't know.
We ought to look at yours and compare it to mine. Because yours is new. Didn't you just get yours this year?
No, mine's a couple years old. Yours is
Oh.
newer than mine. But I don't think that you have an enhanced license.
Well, how would I know if it's enhanced or not?
Well, I don't
They
know.
just kept saying it had the seal, state seal on it and stuff.
Yeah, and
I just happen to have them handy.
yeah, John's going to look at his real quick.
And yours.
Yeah, it's just the same.
Ours are identical.
Yeah, so we haven't seen anything that had we haven't seen anything like that. You guys, I'm just coming up here and kind of research
They just said that's what you're gonna have to have.
to fly.
Yep.
Oh,
Has a star on the top right corner. I'm going to get mine this week. Mine has a star. Both of ours has a star on the
I
top
guess
right
if
corner.
you just if as long as they don't want you to take the test again, I guess you can go down and I hate test. I guess you could just go down and get it. You know what I'm saying? But you guys, this is coming out pretty good, don't you think? Let me just move this picture out of the way. You guys think so? I think this is coming out. What do you guys think?
Well, I think it's coming out great. I wish I could
I
see
mean, we're
more
just,
of it. I need to
you know,
back
we're just
out.
kind
You
of,
keep moving
we're just
around on
we're
me.
just chatting as we do this. But
back
you know,
out for a while.
all in all, I think it's coming out great. There was something dark under here, like this, as I recall. I'm just looking at a reference photo and, you know, painting in shadows as we paint. Okay. This kind of came down like that, and this was dark right here. All right, so we're just going to make all this dark in here like that. And there was a
Oh,
little,
he had the other thing. Anne Marie saying the weights from the different airlines. If you're going to China, is a weight. From China to Canada is a different weight. Canada to where do we go next?
yeah, all the weights,
We had
all
all
the
the
weights
weights.
all the weights were different. And absolutely, all the weights were different.
So I had to repack every time, which is no big deal.
And
But you want to take a portable scale with you, a little hand scale. And,
oh yeah, do you have a
and it
picture of one of
matched
those?
that.
Because that's a must-have. If you know people that are traveling that don't have one of those, those are about $10, and they're well worth it. That's a good little stocking stuffer or gift for people that you know are traveling. One of those. We couldn't get by without ours because I mean we were sitting there, you know, one suitcase was. They're not kidding. If it's 1 pound over, you're just screwed. So like,
They
one.
charge you extra $50 for that pound.
Yeah, so I mean, you just don't want that to happen. Notice the pumpkins are kind of flat on the bottom. You guys, you see they're not particularly circular. They're sitting on the bottom, a little flat. And then they've got a little bit of a shadow here. And I've got some green here. I'm going to wipe it off, and I want a little bit of green on this pumpkin. And I'm just going to kind of scrub some on here. On this pumpkin here, and I'll put a little on this one too, like that. We'll put some lighter stuff. All right, now let's get some highlights on these guys. So, a little bit of white and yellow. Let's mix that up like that. Wipe all the excess paint off. Let's see if we can't do a few little highlights on these pumpkins. Maybe here too. Let's see, it's a little bit redder than that. Take a little bit of orange. And there we go, a little bit of highlights on these. Just
Looking very pumpkin-y.
this is. Don't you think this is looking very kind of Halloween-y, right? Kind of at least fall,
Halloween-y.
don't you?
Yep.
Don't you think? I think this the thing about a painting like this is, I think it can go past the fall thing, you know. So, for instance, I know I've got some lines that are coming in here. This is like burnt sienna, and I know I've got some of these coming like this. I don't want this side to be darker.
Lisa also, she had her little show. She had her daughter with her. Mm-hmm. She made sure the people at the festival knew you were my teacher. So you verbally told them how great you are.
Oh,
Give
that
that
is so
girl
nice.
a gold star.
Gold star, man, for sure. Thank you. Here's a little burnt sienna. Let's just use that. Because if you look at the picture of the pumpkins, the creases, particularly on the left-hand side, are, you see where they're a little bit darker, like that. And then when you get over here, let's see, you're going to come around this way, like that. Now, the trick is to put some light on them. And I'm trying real hard not to dry anything, just to kind of keep going and not dry. But if you, on the lighter side of this, it's cad red, medium, and a little bit of white. On the lighter side of this, and next to every one of these lines is a lighter line next to it. And I may have to dry it in order for this to work, but let me see if I can get this to. Let's see, I want that a little bit more orange and less white. There we go. You can come back, if you get the lines too fat, it's easy enough to come back with your orange paint and thin them up, because you don't want these real wide. I want these redder here. So the trick is to just, sometimes with reds, you guys, sometimes with reds, you need enough colors, layers. I guess that's the word I want. You need enough layers for it to show up, okay? So let's just say that this is the, okay, test the color down here. This is the nice, lighter, bright orange. See what we're doing here? This is my lighter side of the pumpkin. Okay.
Looking good.
I'm just going to sit there and say, play around with this like this for a while. So any more questions, John, while we...
Yeah, did you miss doing the live sessions like you're doing right now?
Yeah, this is fun. I enjoyed doing this. I hope you guys like it too, but I really enjoyed the premieres. I tell you what I liked about the premieres. I got to see the questions, and, you know, even though I type terribly and can't spell at all, and I get dyslexic and type all kinds of weird stuff, I got to see the questions, and I really liked that too. So I think that all has a, all of it has the potential for being really nice, and I really enjoyed probably both. But I love the live shows. I hope you guys like the live shows too. And anything else? Any other questions?
Well, yeah. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe now. You're supposed to ask for that, you know.
Well, I
You're
thought
supposed to do
about
that
that, but you know what?
first
If people want to subscribe, I think it would be nice, and it's really nice if you want to put these in a playlist. You can't paint this right now. Put it in one of your playlists, because that will help. I'm going to make this a little dark shadow right here on the hay here. There's a little dark shadow right there where that pumpkin's starting to show up. It's all about lights and darks, you guys, and that's all it ever is. It's just lights and darks. And
since you guys cruise so much, you have sea legs, and when you get up on shore, do you wobble around and sway?
No.
No.
No, we don't. But you know, I'll tell you what, I was doing a lot of hobbling because of my hurt leg, my injured leg.
Yeah.
And that was no fun at all. Absolutely no fun at all. Okay, now I'm not liking the yellow on there, so
Could
if
you
I
have
just
painted the pumpkins white first so they would be brighter?
Yeah, you could. You could if you wanted them brighter. I don't know that I wanted them that much brighter. But I really, the photograph was really too bright. You see, the photograph was just so bright, they were in your face bright, and I wanted them to be bright, but not that bright. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
So I mean, because here's that, you know, this is, I mean, how bright could you make these? And let's just talk about that. This is a really bright color here, and you're talking about, I wanted that, you know, if you layer them, to me, that works just as well. And, but yes, if you wanted one pumpkin really, really bright, you definitely could have layered it, but you know, painted it white, but you still need these light highlights in them. You still need those. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Hey, we would like to thank a couple people for the donations that came in. We had Phyllis make a donation, and so did Andrew. They paid through the PayPal system on the website. Thank you very much, you too.
Oh, thank you
Both of
very
you.
much. Appreciate it very much, you guys. We really do.
And Andrew wanted to say, welcome back. So happy you had a great trip. Glad you were back.
Oh, thank you.
Quit goofing off and get back to work.
Oh, gosh.
He didn't add that. I added that.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, I did.
He did. He didn't say that. Well, thank you very much, Andrew. We appreciate that, and And I'll tell you what, I've been so enjoyed seeing your paintings recently. If you guys have not been a member of our Facebook club, that is the place that, if someone says, I wish Ginger could see what I paint. I do see, and if I don't always get to comment all the time, because sometimes the feed goes so fast, I do see you guys. As I see your art. I'm so impressed with it. I'm so impressed with what Andrew's been painting lately. He's been kind of, and then bless his heart, he's one of, like Judy is like grandmother of the year with the way she paints with her grandchildren, and Andrew's been painting with his godkids. And we see on Fridays, we have family Friday where you can, post pictures of, maybe your kids or grandkids, what you're doing with other people. And maybe if one lady posted a picture that her mother did at 90 of a Thomas Kincaid kind of style painting, and it made you want to cry. It was just beautiful. It was the only picture our mother ever did. I tell you what, when you're interacting with your family and teaching others to paint, like Andrew's done, like Judy's done, that is a great thing to do. I'm going to put a little yellow up here now.
Punam says, my paintings tends to get darker the next day. I know it's an acrylic thing, but how do I compensate? Is there a certain rule?
Yeah, you got it. As they dry, they get darker. As they dry, they get darker. But also, when you varnish, some of the colors will brighten up a bit. Just so you know that they will. Some of the colors will. I haven't put the stems in these pumpkins yet, you guys. In case you were wondering what's going on here, I have not. I'm going to just do this pumpkin over here because I don't want to talk about this one. He's just there.
You don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, and I think there were some leaves down here. Fall leaves down here in the corner. We can put like that.
Where are you now?
Down here on the bottom. I just put some fall leaves to kind of explain it. I haven't finished all this. This is taking a while. I'm sorry this is taking so long.
How long is it?
Guess we've been at it an hour. I guess that's not long for a painting, huh?
It's only been an hour, 7 minutes.
Just feels like it's, taken a long time. But
maybe it's longer on
now
the
look, see, I'm wiping all the paint off. You put the paint on the brush. I see people and they don't know when to take all the paint off. So you wipe. You know the brush has got paint in it because if you left your brush like this after you wiped it off, it would dry hard as a rock. So this is the trick here. Then you add the color, and it's just the right amount of paint. Does that make sense?
You're basically doing a dry brush.
It's called dry brushing. So you put just enough paint on there to cut, and this doesn't work until you've got layers. When you've got enough layers, this works just fine. But if you don't have enough layers, it doesn't work at all. Does that make sense?
Hey, we'd like to thank Daryl for the contribution to the Karen Little Scholarship Fund. It just came in through PayPal.
Oh, thank you very much. That is very kind. We appreciate that very much. And you guys,
we appreciate it a lot, and we appreciate you using PayPal because they only take 3% and YouTube takes 30%.
Yeah, we've never done a Patreon or anything like that, We've never done that, but we do appreciate that, somebody feels like we've done a good job and that they appreciate what we're doing, You'd be amazed if just $1 or $2 now and then, that makes a difference when a lot of people do it, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes people think, well, I don't want to think that I'm insulting them if I give them $1 or something, but I'm telling you what. Insult us. It makes a difference.
We like to help out as many people as we can.
And there, I'm going to put a little bit of light in the windows. Now, you see how we're doing this now?
This is really looking nice.
I mean, again, I had no idea how this was going to come out. I just sort of guessed. I thought this would make a good painting.
It's a haunting festival, happy one.
And again, now I'm dry brushing some lighter on. And again, this dry brushing business only works when you
And Sally made a donation through the YouTube. Welcome back. Thank you, Sally. Good to be back.
Thank you. So again, I can't say enough about dry brushing. I hate to be like a broken record, you guys, but I got to tell you that it makes such a difference here. And I'm going to say that it's light up here because why? Because maybe this window is making it a little bit lighter. Maybe we'll lighten up some of these. I put a window here with the light on it, so maybe there's some lighter, maybe there's something happening here with the tops of this where the
Light's bleeding over.
where the leaves were are catching the light from the window, yes? So,
Joy says, I love this painting, Ginger. I tend to dwell on the details when I paint. What can I do to loosen up?
paint in big blocks. Details are last. Paint in big blocks of color. You know, that's the trick. Paint in big blocks of color and then keep going. Then focus on it. Big blocks of color at first. Like for instance, I know that I want to make this.
Basically, you just keep blocking it and finding the details as you're going.
I do, and I'm looking for.
layers.
I'm making a gray color now and put a little ultramarine blue with it. I didn't really use any phthalo. Now I need a lighter gray color. Okay. So this is my light gray color, and I'm going to go up here where my wagon wheel is on this top of this board here, and I'm going to lighten up this board here like this. See this? This is the next thing that gets lit. Then I'm going to come under here, lighten this up. Here's my board right here.
Lillian would like to thank you for mentioning the Sugar Shack. She can't get the song out of her head. That's our job, is to keep you humming.
Well, you know what? I can't remember how the song goes, and I would play something like that here too. But the problem is that I mean I would do it, but
YouTube would frown upon it.
YouTube is. I just never know. I mean, I would love to be able to just put music with our stuff, but it's so risky for us to do that. If you get, you know, for instance, Eric is a wonderful musician. He's offered to play piano for us, and I'd love to take him up on it, but I'm not sure if we put in a copyright protected song, you know, where we'd be with that. Does that make sense, you guys? And yet I love the idea of that. Look, see, I'm lightening this up again. Yes?
Amazing what Ginger can do in only an hour and talking at the same time.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And I think I lost my curve here, but I can fix that. Right there, but I can fix that. It looks like it has a flat tire here. But you know what? In their video, in their picture, this kind of broke
picture?
here.
It's my picture. And
Well,
I
our
didn't
photo, but they used a damaged wagon wheel, so it's not my fault.
They had a flat wagon wheel.
They had well, it wasn't flat, but it was broken right here.
It was damaged.
It was
Damaged goods. I can't believe that.
Yeah, so I fixed that right there. So, all right, so there's that wagon wheel. See, now the wagon wheel's coming.
Art Thomas finally shows up.
Finally.
Well, thanks, Art, for joining us, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, Art. Thanks for coming. I just feel like I've gotten to know you all so well, and it's just been sort of fun. And anyway, I started to say that, but I thought that Judy was like grandmother of the year with her kids, and I love it when you guys are sharing the pictures on Family Friday of what you've been doing with your families. I think that's just neat. And I love that Andrew was doing with his painting with his godkids, because somebody asked me the other day, do you paint with your grandkids? Well, you know, their mother paints with them all the time. And coming over to my house, if I offered to paint, they would just roll their eyes and say, oh my gosh, really?
Don't you people have anything else you can do?
What else do you guys do besides paint? Of course, we're sitting there going, well, we could do something else, I suppose, right? Here, I'm going to lighten this up here. Going to put this pumpkin in front of that one again.
Hey, we'd like to thank Sandra for the donation that came in through the PayPal system. Greatly appreciated, Sandra.
Oh, thank you. Now, notice I'm not putting in every bit of detail on these pumpkins. Could you do that? Could you go back and do that? And we left out the flowers. See these big flowers here? That didn't add anything. Could I put the flowers here? Oh, maybe, but I didn't want to do that either. Now, there's a shadow underneath the table here, like down in here. There's a shadow underneath this table, and I'm going to put that. And there was this other leg back down in here, some sort of shadow, and I can put that like that. See, shadow under table, yeah, yes and yes. And then there was a shadow under here too, which I'm not sure that will read well. I mean, can you guys see this right here? If I put the shadow here, it's in the photo, but it isn't going to read well. What I mean
is that
was,
really a shadow?
Yeah, right under here. It looks like a bib here. That's a shadow on this circular thing right there. That's a shadow. That's a shadow. So that's not going to read well. So I'm not going to put it. So just
we shot this at high noon.
Yeah, we shot it at high noon. So,
That's why nothing else has shadows on it.
yeah, so what you well know it was an overcast day.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it was.
Not that overcast. Look at the shadow you have up here.
Yeah, that's true.
No,
Yeah.
no, you wouldn't. Definitely not. You don't want to do that shadow.
You can't do that. So just because it's in the photo, can I say this again? Just because it's in the photo, don't put it, okay?
You're the artist.
Don't do it. And I'm going to make this just a little smaller here. That you can thin up any line by just there. See how I got that tiny little line right there for the hub on the wagon wheel? Now I guess we could go ahead and put some. I'm going to make sure I've got enough here. It's cad red medium and naphthol crimson, and I want to come up here like this. And so here's the bottom of this. And let's see. I want a nice bright orange here. Let's do more yellow. How about magenta and yellow? That makes a great color. Magenta and yellow is a really bright orange color. See? Look at that. Where would I want that? Maybe right here. Then put a little bit of red around it. Can't say enough about nice bright colors. All right, so now I'm going to put a little bit of maybe some grass going up over the pumpkins. So any other questions while I'm kind of playing around with this, John?
No, I'm sure there are. Let's see what we got for you.
Here, we're going to put some grass on the pumpkins. Then we don't have to talk about a lot of this stuff if you don't want to. Just maybe they've been sitting here long enough for there's some grass. I love it.
I was doing one of your holiday paintings the other day, and you used a toothbrush to make the splatter. Have you ever used a brush and a palette knife or anything else, or have you always used a toothbrush?
Well, that's so funny you should say that, because my daughter, the art Sherpa, has a really good spatter thing now. She's got these little things that you got. I wish I had one I could show you. They're like lots of little fibers, and you can tap them, and they go spatter, okay? And that's part of the art Sherpa set. Yeah, and she gave me a couple. They're around here somewhere. That's a good question. Let me just take a minute and show that person how to spatter with the toothbrush. Can we do that for a second?
Well, they know how to splatter with a toothbrush because that's what you always do.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't. Someone said they didn't know how. Now, the secret is, right, you guys, the secret to spattering with the toothbrush is you need a very stiff toothbrush. And you're using, now watch my thumb, you're using your thumb at this end, and you have to angle it. Now, the trick is, now a lot of people don't know this. This is a great question. So we're just going to diverge, let this painting dry for a second. We're going to diverge over here, and then we'll do the final details. Don't use something like a rag so that you have soft areas. Now, you start with a damp toothbrush, and then you tap it off on a rag, and then you take some white paint, come over here like this. You want it to be kind of loose, and you tap it. Now, you aim down and just barely touch it. Now, this makes great snow. It makes great beach sand. This is marvelous for a beach. Different colors. Now, if you wanted some different colors, if you're doing beach sand, you do different colors and you dry between sprays. Now, the more you hit, the harder it gets, right? But that's the secret of how you spatter. Now, where I take you see where I took this off, it didn't leave a hard line. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
So that's how you spatter with the toothbrush. Now, the question, some years ago, somebody was selling a toothbrush. It looked like a tongue depressor, a wide one, and a piece of screen. And they'd take the toothbrush and they'd run it over the screen, and they'd get that spatter effect without getting their hands dirty. And I would have bought it, but they wanted $20 for something I figure cost them all of 5 cents. And I thought, well, I'll make one. And now this is 20, 30 years later. I've never made one. I talk about this imaginary screen toothbrushy thing, which is kind of neat. But I like the toothbrush. I really do. You can really get some fine things. Just don't get it too wet.
You got to make sure you get a stiff brush,
though. Stiff brush, and it's how you angle it, right? So when we were doing the painting parties, it was so funny. My boss couldn't make the toothbrush thing work. There are people who can't make that work, but I think it hasn't been explained well. Yes and yes?
Yes and yes.
I think it has to be explained well. So I'm going to start here, finishing this up now, you guys. I think we could probably paint on this all night, but I think it's kind of a nice painting. What do you guys think? Do you think we did okay with it?
I think it looks pretty good.
I think we did okay with that. So let's just put a few let's just suggest a few of these stripes here. And let's see, I wanted to say it was, I want a little bit of a stem here. I'm going to just do a little brown stem kind of up here like this. And we have that painting with the sunflower too. Remember, John? The sunflower painting. I know. Is that in the hallway?
Is that in the hallway?
I think that's in the hallway. That's a really good one too. And if you want something, that's been one of our most successful ones. It's 16 by 20. It's a sunflower. It's on YouTube.
For, 16 by 20.
And it's here. We're just going to put a little stem here. Then we just do this like that. There we go.
Looking pretty good.
And put our little stems on here for our sugar shack. And this little guy had a stem too, I guess. We'll just get a little yellow and purple, make kind of a gray color. And he had a little kind of a light stem on him like that. I think this one did too. There, got a little stem on these guys. And then these ones had kind of something light on the top of their. This one had that you can see the top of his stem where they cut it. But we enjoyed Canada. It was beautiful, and the weather, we lucked out. Even though there were some bad weather places, we did not experience that at all, which we felt very, very grateful not to have had that. And
I'm sorry, my queen, I do not see.
we don't see it. Well, we would tell you about it if we could find it, but we anyway.
No, we can tell them about it. We just can't show it.
It's on YouTube, and it's just sunflowers and
It's a good lesson.
and it's great. It's sunflowers and pumpkins if you just want to, decorate for that. Here, let's just lighten up our highlights again. Okay, just playing with the highlights. Just playing with this one here like that. And let's coming up here like this. And I think we're fairly close to being there. I probably would, this one had the white shutters. I'm not sure if that's, had this white here like this. Probably should have used a pen on this one.
Use what?
A pen on that. I think those should be dark anyway. I don't think white is the right color for that. Now, here's the thing. If you've dried something that's been dried enough, you can erase. Have you ever erased? You can erase if you've dried it enough. So I used white there and I didn't like it. So this has been dried enough where I can now erase it. I'm going to go back with a dark color and just very carefully do this. Like that.
A lot of people have posted the sunflower and pumpkin on Facebook lately.
Yeah, that's been a very successful, holiday painting. Okay. And here we go. We want these to have to slant down. These lines are straight across. Please note, these lines are straight across. These are slanting down, following the edge of this roof. Now, if we were to take a black and white photograph of this right now, what we would notice is that this roof could be a bit brighter. So let's just see what happens if we were to make the roof brighter on the house. It's very angled down here like that. We've got a brighter red roof, which I think is very nice. I like the red roof. I think that gives it sort of a holiday festive feeling. A little bit of this red color in here. Maybe we'll have a bit of it here and here. Kind of bring it down into our pumpkins. And bring this yellow down.
Have you ever
here.
had your Posca pen splatter due to the canvas texture?
No. Has that happened to you? Have you?
Yeah. And being a sock folder drives me nuts.
I haven't had that happen.
It wasn't as smooth. The canvas was just too.
Well, we
too
do
crabby.
recommend you sanding your canvas, you guys. We do
And
tell you to
speaking
do
of sanding, how did you learn about sanding? Where did that come from?
Sanding. Where did I learn about that? Okay, back when Cinnamon was in junior college, she was going to take an art course, and there wasn't enough people, and they were going to drop the class, and she was an art major. So I said, I'm going to do a little bit of light color right here to separate this. There wasn't enough people. So I said I'd take the course with her. And so I got a couple of my friends to take it too, because if you pay taxes in Texas close to where the junior college is, you can, if you're not, you can get a break on it. So we could go for like pretty cheap. So we went ahead and took the art course so Cinnamon didn't miss out on it. And you can learn stuff from everybody. And what I learned in that art course was I learned about how to stretch a canvas, which I didn't know before then. Notice I'm lightening up some stuff now. Remember how the stuff goes darker? You notice I'm coming back up here, lightening a few things now. You see that? Just coming back here and lightening my grays up and doing a few things like this. And anyway, I think I learned that from Bonnie Newman, who was our instructor. I think she was the one that suggested you could.
So I did it back when I was painting with oils on masonite. I always wanted the smoothest surface I could get.
Yeah, no, I think that was something I learned in the class, and which was extremely helpful. I got to tell you. I want an orange color, not a yellow color. Here we go.
Melissa would like to know, why do I see tiny specks of canvas peeking through after the paint dries?
Because you haven't done an underpainting.
I'm
You've
using
got
golden
to, if
over.
your white canvas is showing through, you're not using enough paint, and you have to have done a really good underpainting. If you don't have a good underpainting, it's going to just definitely peek through. Absolutely, it's going to peek through.
Sanding does not scrape off the gesso. Gesso is embedded into the canvas.
Yeah, you're not.
You'd have to sit there and really sand it for a long time.
We're talking about just lightly, a very light sandpaper, just basically.
And somebody suggested using a paper bag, which you have not tried yet.
Yes, yeah, one person suggested that. Now here's something in the photograph. There's some, and I'm trying to see if I wanted to add some of the sky peeking through here. Back over here there was some sky, and I want to see if I want to add that. I would even like it to have some sky peeking through there. And you know what? I don't. This is what I love about acrylics. Even though it was in the photograph, I'm not going to put it in. See, I'll just take that right out. And it's dry enough where I can really do that, okay? So let's see. So what else do we want to do? We're just going to finish this up and see what else we want to put places. This is where having some bright, people say, what about bright colors? This is called Luminous Orange by Holbein. And I'm going to show you what happens if you wanted this to feel really bright. Say if you wanted one pumpkin to be brighter than another. Look here. Just, I mean, if you just said that you wanted these to be really bright. Somebody said, could you have painted them white first too? Could have done that. I'm just going to grab a little bit of this paint right here. This is these front ones. Maybe I'll put a little bit of this luminous orange on that window too. I don't know that you need that. Somebody said, when do you use all those colors? It'd probably be about now, right? Right? When you might use it. Here, I'll just pull that around here like that.
Sue, no, we do not sand with paper bags. We have not tried that yet. Another person
person wrote us and told us to do that. And and the one lady said she's been woodworking and has been doing it for years. Couldn't understand why we all didn't know about it. Well, I think first off, paper bags are kind of a rarity nowadays, don't you think?
Well, very much so.
I mean, you don't see the paper bags anymore like you did before. The grocery store doesn't have that many. Yeah? No?
Well,
all right, now you'll notice in the photograph that there's this board here too, this old fence, and I left that out too. I just want you to see all the things that I've been leaving out. Now there is an outside dark ring right here on the outside of like a metal ring on this the wheel here, and then there's a shadow underneath like that. There is that, okay? But for the most part, it's not totally outlined, but there is Like there are some shadows, and you can put those in when you're painting, and be aware of why you're putting them in. Okay, and your wagon wheels. But I'd say we're pretty close to being finished here, John. And can I answer any more questions?
Yeah, sometimes I get a canvas that just resists the paint. What is the deal with that?
There is some really cheap canvas out there, some really bad canvas. And it does. And I would say what you have to do is another coat of gesso on it, or
sand it, gesso
sand it.
it.
Another thing you can do, which is very effective, is that you can take some modeling paste, thin it way down, and cover it with modeling paste and give it a good surface to paint on. That's really good for that horrible canvas cardboard junk that they sell, that I just hate, that stuff. But boy, you can do that, and it's pretty effective. Here, just gonna lighten that up a little bit. So those are just a few of the things that you can do. There we go. Here's my hay, and I'm gonna just lighten up some of the grass as we're talking. So I mean, but you really, honestly, the canvas that's being sold, there's a lot. The art movement. Here's what's happened, is that painting parties are starting up all over the United States. And they're everywhere. And they can't make enough canvas in 16 by 20. So goodness knows what you're getting.
Goodness gonna. Who is goodness?
Stay with the brand. Stay with a good brand of paint. I can't stress.
Good paint and good canvas.
Good paint and canvas. Stay with something that. Stay with that, right? I'm going to put a little bit of turquoise blue in here too, just because this color surprise. I'm just going to come up here like this. Just add it because it's pretty. People won't know that I did, it'll just be in there. Just in there a little bit. Yeah, stay with a really good brand of paint. I can't say that enough. Just our canvas. If you stay with Fredericks or one of those, saying that, John and I often buy the cheapest thing we can find, and then we'll treat it. But we always do an underpainting, which probably is helpful too, yeah?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, we can't, and then people say, well, when do you use linen? When it's on sale and you can afford it? That's really nice too. Here, this is sort of a dark, shadowy thing right here. I'll put this up. I could play with this for another couple hours, but I think you guys get the idea of how that you take a photo and edit it, right? And turn it into a painting, and that's what you want to do. And you're going to wipe all this off, and if I want a little green on here like that, on some of this.
The stretch canvas edges, should they be varnished?
Oh, you mean like the sides?
Not on a little guy. I don't varnish the edges of those.
No.
Now, if it was a wrap, was your gallery wrap,
gallery wrap, then we would do it, right? The gallery wrap,
but not the
absolutely.
other ones, because you got to be able to get into a frame.
Now, when you say gallery wrap, technically this is a gallery wrap because it's stapled on the back. But when you have an extra wide gallery wrap canvas, then you would do it, right?
Basically when you've painted on that side.
All right, so there, I'm going to put a few little bits of right here. I wasn't sure what I was going to put here, and I'm going to say that I want some grass growing right there on where my pumpkins are, and I would say I'm going to call that a pumpkin painting, you guys. And I'm just trying to decide. In the photo, the roof was lighter right here. I wonder if I shouldn't do that, and then I'll do it. So it's like a magenta color almost. And I could probably put some orange with it. Now let's just see what that looks like. If we just we'll dry brush that on.
Give a little bit of streaking action.
Yeah, and I need a little more white with that. Wipe that over here like this, wipe it off the brush. Too much white, okay? So let me just turn this over like that. I'll just do that. See, this is what I'm talking about layering. So this would have been a hard color to get the first time I tried it, but not so hard now. So there you go.
That's a nice looking painting.
Well, I think it has, I like it, and I like the fact that it says fall, but in a different way.
Now, do you think the mums would add or take away?
See, the flowers, where are you going to put the flowers? You've got all this. The flowers just take away from it. If you put those flowers here, they just
it's
are
distracting. Be another person competing.
So even they were there, that's what you've got to ask yourself, is even though they were there How
Do
is
they
that?
really need to be in the painting?
Do they need to be in the painting?
You have a dot under the window that is distracting. What dot?
Here? Maybe. Let me just do something dark right here. At the bottom here. Right like that. There, I wanted that a little bit darker on that one. Dot under the window. I
Art
see
is in the mood for pumpkin pie.
All right, so there, it's a little bit there.
Yes, our printer did that. It's an HP printer did the photo.
Yeah, we did that, and
Nothing fancy.
nothing fancy. And I mean, I could take a Posca pen and maybe just, if I was doing this bigger, I might do a little bit more detail on the hub here, right, like that, right, and then come in like this and skinny that up. Wipe that off here, like this. I want this darker here, and I'm not getting that right there. Okay, here. I wanted a light line right there, up there at the top. There we go.
You had a white dot. Did you get rid of that white dot yet?
Well, I don't even see a white dot. I don't know what you're talking about.
There's got to be that one that's off on that.
Here? What dot?
No.
Dot?
Let me come.
I don't see it. I do not see a white dot, friends. Of which you speak.
That.
Oh, that was the that was the
windowsill.
window box.
Well, we don't like it.
Okay, fine.
So now what are you doing to it?
We just made it a different color, but I don't know. I had some
There, it's
blue
no
on
longer
the,
white.
I
Get
had
off our
some-
case.
I had some blue on the brush. Here it is. This is the window ledge, and
You're so funny.
well, okay. So I don't know what we're going to be doing next week. But if you have something specific you'd like to see us paint, leave that in the comments below.
We have a white dot on the shrubbery. What shrubbery?
Well, look, it's gone now. It may be a reflection on your TV because it's gone now.
I'm not seeing anything.
And don't put it in yours then. Guess what? You know what I mean?
want it.
Well, just go away. Don't put it. Don't put it in yours.
Leave us alone.
Yes, man. Don't put it in yours then.
Oh, you guys, come on.
Come on, don't put it in yours.
Oh, you fixed it. It's gone.
Oh, thank goodness.
I don't know where it was. Hey, did we thank Pamela for taking us around Nova Scotia? I'm not sure if we got to her
No,
or
I don't
not.
think we got as far as Pamela. And
Pamela, we're going to
Pamela
have to
took
mention
us-
you next time.
Pamela took us around Nova Scotia.
She spent the entire day with us.
And listen, she's got some
She's the one that took us to Peggy's Cove.
she took us to Peggy's Cove, and not only that, but
Showed us some great
she showed us some great
searches on the lakes, boats,
great stuff, and
docks.
stopped everywhere for us, picked us right up at the ship, and her day is really busy, and she's got a fused neck, and it's very hard for her to drive, and her husband normally drives for her, and not that she doesn't drive, but this was a big deal the whole day, and we wandered around and did all this great stuff. I'm telling you what, it was terrific, wasn't it, John? And we're
Oh,
very appreciative of that
absolutely.
too. That was absolutely great. So okay,
Everybody we met, and we met that Jan and Craig on the cruise ship. They were cruising on us, and they recognized us and came up and said, "Hey."
In fact, they were on the airplane back to Texas with us.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure where those guys live, but they were on the
They were
airplane
in-
back
they're
to
in the
Texas
Fort
with us.
Worth area, I
And it
think.
was so funny. I thought I would see her again on the ship because we were there on the ship for 2 weeks, but she never came back again. I think maybe she was afraid
Well,
she would have bothered us or something. You really wouldn't
Hey,
have.
you know, people don't bother us.
It's always fun to talk to you guys. There, see, you keep asking these questions. Acrylics dry darker. Do you see how I'm lightening stuff up again?
'Cause
I'm
it
going
keeps
back
drying
and
darker.
it just dries darker, but I can see that. I'm just lightening it up just a little bit more, and this makes for this old gray barnwood.
Oh, no offense from anybody that was telling us to get the white dot. We're just having fun here.
We're having fun with you guys.
Really.
We're not mad at
It's
you.
okay,
If you
it's
see
fine.
something, go ahead and you shout it out now.
Shout it out. We don't mind.
We don't mind. We really don't.
We'll either change it or we won't.
We change it or won't, or if I see it, I see it, and if I don't see it, I don't see it, and gosh, and yours don't do it, and isn't it fun? You can feel just, one of the nice things about painting a painting that somebody else has done, a tutorial, is that, when it's your painting,
Make it yours.
well, I'm not saying that, but when
Oh.
it's your painting, there's this feeling that, was this a good idea? Was that's a bad idea? But mostly if you're copying somebody else's stuff for a while to learn from them, you might say, I like everything, but I think that thing's stupid, and you can criticize it, and you feel very good about it, right? Go, well, that was dumb, I wouldn't have done that. And that's good too, to know what you would have done or wouldn't have done. Here, let's do a couple little nails right there on that. That was cute, right? All right, I'll get out the Posca pen and sign it. I thought this was a really good, I thought this was a very successful evening with you guys. I hope that that you guys enjoyed it too. I hope that you had fun with us. And I think the Sugar Shack, I mean, I think this really should be the title of this painting, Sugar Shack, but we won't call that in the video because nobody's searching on YouTube for Sugar Shacks. But I think Sugar Shack is, and now you know the story of the Sugar Shacks where they made the maple syrup.
Not the Maine maple syrup, though. You're showing Maine maple syrup. This was Canada.
Well, they started though. They're claiming it, man. Well, the squirrels are claiming it, but then Canada's claiming it after that. And this was did you know that the sugar never spoiled? So
you can boil it and boil it and boil it.
It comes down to like a block, and they can shave it. And the ground sugar, the very powder, they grind it up. We bought a couple bags of it, and we just keep this a secret from Cinnamon. We won't tell her, but I'll
There's
tell
only
you
500
guys.
some odd people
But
on.
they're not going to tell her, so she's going to get a surprise from me. As I brought her back to this.
But here you're telling. Okay.
I brought her some.
Don't anybody tell.
I brought her this bag of very finely powdered ground maple sugar, because they told us if you put it in your coffee, it's like creme brulee, like that dessert. And of course, you probably put a little milk with that. And since that's one of her favorite desserts, and coffee is her thing, I think she'll love it, don't you? So next time
Don't tell her though.
Don't tell her, she's got a
Mum's the
surprise.
word.
Mum's the word. And then the last thing, if you didn't do our parrot this week, if you're an Academy member, I hope you painted Polly. And I loved Andrew's Polly and the ones that we have done it.
Polly the
pirate
parrot.
parrot. These are just some of the fun things we do. Not everybody is having fall in the world. Some of you are having summer. Half the world's having summer. So.
Gee, which half could that be?
So anyway, guys, thanks very much.
You don't know.
Last question, and we'll say goodnight. Australia's having summer.
Yeah, girl. I knew
know.
you could do it.
I know. Why would you think I would think? No, I'm going to clean my hands now. I'm going to take my tub of towels and clean my hands. Last question for the night.
Last question. We have a last question.
And
I love the parrot. Oh, the parrot's awesome. Polly the parrot. Polly the pirate parrot.
yeah.
Who comes up with these names?
And then while he's looking for the question, we can say that what do we learn from painting a painting like this is that you've got to ask yourself the question, what can I take away and not ruin the effect? What can I eliminate in my photo? What's my subject? They all can't be the subject. The house can't be the subject, the wheel, the pumpkins, all of it. So you see the we've got this wheel here as our main kind of focus. The pumpkin's going to lead us up into the house and back. So I'd say the wagon wheel is probably our main focus with these pumpkins here. So,
do you have a preference for matte, satin, or gloss varnish? And if so, why?
For the most part, I like the gloss, the Liquitex gloss medium and varnish because I like shiny artwork. But depends on what you're doing. If you're doing one of the old dead guys, I think that you have to do the gloss first, and then you can put the matte over it. John read the directions to that one time, and I wasn't doing it that way, and I stand corrected. You have to do the gloss first, and then you put the matte. Then you put the matte over it, and you may. And sometimes you just don't want it, but you have to do it the right way. If you just willy-nilly, now I say this, if you willy-nilly start brush and varnish across like this and up and down like this, you'll have a hot mess, a glare on your painting, and you'll have ruined it. If you don't varnish the way I told you, look at my video on how to varnish.
Or my video on how to varnish.
Or John's video on the Tech Bear on how to varnish over there on the Tech Bear channel. If you haven't seen John's, the Tech Bear, that's all the questions that people have asked, like, how do I watch TV on YouTube?
We had one. How do I watch your show on my PS4, my Sony PS4 game machine? And apparently you can do it. She couldn't get it to work. She could get to the browser, but she couldn't get it to log in and watch them. So I contacted Charlie, my son, who has one. I said, do this. It was not a problem. And he did it. And
We told her, we have the tech bears for you guys that have all the technical questions on how to make the computer work in your art. So you can watch the videos and see stuff on your iPhone and do all this technical stuff and send in stuff. So, Tech Bear has great, and if you have any questions for the Tech Bear, use the contact us and write John, and he'd be happy to tell you. And we'll post a video on it. So good night, you guys. This was fun. Anything else? Was there a last question? That was it,
that
right?
was the last question. I mean, last question she's going to ask for.
No, I'm having a senior moment here. I'm just saying, was the last question, yes?
Is Sammy back working yet? Yeah, he's back.
No, you said he wasn't back.
No. Morgan, it's you and me, buddy. Just you and me.
Good night, you guys. See you next week. Thanks.
Thanks, everyone. And we're going to give Judy and maybe, wait a minute. I think we can do this. Let me see if they're here.
So we got Judy up singing again?
Yes, it's available.
Great. Judy's
All right,
going to be
guys.
singing again.
See you
Bye.
next
That's
week.
not me singing. That's Judy's guitar. That's her song. Thank you. Well, you guys, I don't think I can look at another commercial about how to unstop the toilet, or maybe you two can learn to draw. That, we have to have those in our video in order to kind of cover some costs, but I thought it would be fun, as long as we were doing it, to put a commercial in for ourselves. So here's the commercial from me to you. I want you to have a wonderful day. I want you to be the artist you can be. I want you to get up in the morning and say, today's the day I'm going to be happier than I was yesterday. This is my commercial, and wishing you the bestest, happiest day of your life. And art hugs from John and I.
I'm a student, I say with glee, of Ginger Cook's Academy. Take your time and do not rush. Use ruby satin, silver brush. Don't use black and mix the green. Learn what blend and grayscale mean. Yes, I hope each day to earn coaching praises as I learn. I'll be an artist, wait and see. Ginger means the world to me.